Well, the calendar's about to flip to March, and it's hard to believe, but that means turkey season's right around the corner. So today I wanted to run through your three main types of turkey calls, and how I personally like to use them, not necessarily in a how-to, but more or less just scenario-wise, why I would pick one versus the other. Your three main types, of course, are your box calls, your pot calls, and your mouth or your diaphragm calls. And I'll start with my least frequently used and work my way up to the one that I use most frequently. So starting off with number 3 is the box call. This is actually the one that I probably used the most when I first started turkey hunting. Obviously it's very easy, very user friendly. But as I have evolved and just gained a lot of experience in the turkey woods in different situations, one of the biggest things I've learned is most often, for me anyways, softer is better. I think when I first started, just trying to be as loud as I can, try to get every turkey to be able to hear me. Whereas now it's more like, they seem to respond a little bit better if you're a little more natural. A lot of times turkeys are relatively quiet and they're just making sounds all the time. And so with the box call, it's harder for me to control that volume more. This tends to be a harder one for me to replicate soft sounds and still have them be accurate sounding. And so when I do use a box call, it's very situational. So it's those times when I do want to reach out a long ways. Maybe it's a windy day and it's harder to get that sound to carry, or maybe it's later season and there's a lot of thick vegetation. I'm trying to get that sound to carry further, or maybe it's foggy day where the sound's not carrying as far, and I'm really wanting to just cut into that and really increase that distance of how far that sound is traveling to try to call in a turkey or locate a turkey. So box call, very user friendly, and it's very, very effective when you're really trying to increase the volume. My second most used call is going to be the pot call or slate call. These ones I really like for one main reason, and that is it seems that I have more versatility with this in terms of changing the pitch, changing the tone, just based on how much friction I use with the striker. So especially when I'm in situations where I have a bird that's hung up or being difficult, this is usually what I'll go to just to be able to switch things up and just give them a little bit different sound. It doesn't take much, but just adjusting that pitch or that tone just a little bit can really be the difference in terms of a tom committing or not. The biggest downside for me with a pot call is it takes two hands to operate in comparison to a diaphragm call. So for me, I am oftentimes filming, I'm oftentimes using archery equipment, all things that require my hands to be doing something else other than running a turkey call. Especially if it's close range, it's hard to operate two hands and also be ready to draw back for a shot, or get the camera in place, whatever it is. So that's the reason I don't use this as often, but I love the sounds that a pot call will produce. And for me, it's easier to do things, especially like purrs and some of those more subtle sounds that you're trying to maybe coax a more difficult bird in. That's where I really like the pot calls and where I think they shine most of the time. And then finally, my most used call in the turkey woods, by far, I would say, is your diaphragm calls. This, again, the hands-free operation is key for me. But also, like I mentioned earlier with the box call, it's kind of flipped. When I was younger, I had a difficult time learning how to use a mouth call. It certainly has a steeper learning curve than these other, your friction type calls. But once you get used to it, once you kind of master that, they are pretty versatile as well. And again, just even if you're just a gun hunter, normal turkey hunter that's not filming or anything, it's still really nice to not have to use your hands to operate, especially if a bird can see you, not quite in range, but has a direct line of sight to you. You don't want to be moving your arms and having to operate a call. So having this in your arsenal is key in a lot of situations. So the mouth call is my most used call. It's just easier, again, hands-free. You can produce a wide variety of sounds depending on the different cuts and stuff like that among mouth calls. But would highly suggest, if you're not proficient in this, it takes time, it takes practice, but once you get there, it's worth having this be your go-to call in the turkey woods. I would consider myself, an average turkey caller at best, good enough to call birds in most hunting situations, but certainly not going to be entering any calling championships soon. So that's kind of my overview of how I like to use these calls, as an average turkey caller. So hopefully there's something there you can take away from. Again, just don't be afraid to practice. Try different calls in different situations. Sometimes it's just a matter of mixing it up. They're not responding to the mouth call, grab the box call, or vice versa. So while I have different uses for all these, I certainly use each one throughout the season at some point. So hopefully there's something there you can take away, and best of luck this spring in the turkey woods.